You know, I would have thought that after the Heartswarming Club, we would be getting back on track with this season. But it doesn't seem like, it seems like Season 8 just had a one-hit wonder at this point by the tail end, because this next episode is really not all that great. And it's really just been kind of the theme with a lot of the episodes after non-compete clause. Let's just do it. This is the end in Friend. Alright, so this episode begins at the Friendship School with Rarity trotting along, and basically Starlight pulls her aside and says that she needs help with a friendship lesson, but she also brought along Rainbow Dash as Twilight explained why she has the two of them here.
Have very different interests that keep them busy, but being friends is so important to them, they always manage to make time for each other. Our day of fun was hard planned, but with Rainbow Dash's extremely time-consuming and erratically scheduled wonderful skirt, and Rarity's weird fashion season, she's working on her winter collection, and it's not even summer yet. But you still found time to be together, and that's what counts. See, class? These ponies are models of true friendship in action.
And that's really kind of an interesting point to know. I mean, why Twilight couldn't just pick anyone out of her friend group is beyond the mystery, but it's been a while since we've seen a Rainbow Dash and Rarity episode. Rarity Investigates, I think it was like the last episode that we had that centered around them, but this episode kind of freshes a lot of people's minds, and it is one of the few things about this first act that will be as a positive.
Enjoy your day of fun. Oh, what amazing stuff are you going to do together?
So because of the excitement of the Young Six, Rarity, Eerie, and Rainbow Dash decide to do their activities together, and basically while Twilight has all the students write down the lessons for what they learned, or what they can learn from watching them in action.
Just go about your day of fun as you normally would.
Yes, go about normally as you would, as you have basically spectators watching you.
You won't even know we're here. Game on!
So, this is where we now start to see the cracks in the armor with the episode, because knowing of what the whole supposed lesson in the Friendship School is going to be, we kind of know where this is going to lead, where basically, as really this episode doesn't really predict, as while Rainbow Dash is into Buckball, Rarity just doesn't seem to get it, and when she's not doing Buckball, she's basically doing her own thing.
You were supposed to be holding your bucket. Huh? Oh, sorry, darling. Wearing this drab jersey gave me an idea for a Buckball-inspired line of athleisure wear that would allow for maximum flexibility and style. But I'm ready now. Good. Because this time, I'm going to try something new and super intense.
So yeah, so even when they do that, they start to bicker a little bit.
Paying attention? Huh? Oh, I mean, of course. I held my bucket and everything. But you have to catch the ball. Really? Well, that sounds dangerous. Oh, forget it.
This is honestly how I felt at work today, because it was reporting, and I need to take some frustrations, and this episode's the perfect excuse to do that, because basically you probably may have noticed that this is the type of episode that it supposedly is in Season 8, but it feels like that Rarity and Rainbow Dash are acting like their Season 1 selves. And this is the first strike against this episode because I've seen this type of episode before. I've heard that this episode is supposed to be a knockoff of Stranger Than Fanfiction, which really is an episode I'm not really a huge fan of. In fact, along with Magic Duel, I think it's probably one of the most overrated episodes of this entire show. But if I'm already not a fan of the episode that is supposed to be a knockoff of said episode, then we're going to be in it for the long haul. And other episodes where I've seen this before was basically in Rarity Investigates, given with the team up, but also in basically Look Before You Sleep.
She's never going to understand the point of this game. Football time is over.
So yeah, so then when Rarity does their thing, Rainbow Dash doesn't seem to get it.
This is so boring.
Well, until it reaches a boiling point. But then the straw that breaks the camel's back is that while Rarity is on the hunt to find for gems, Rainbow Dash thinks that she's in an underground cave and thinks that, well, this is a daring do book.
Rainbow Dash, would you please refrain from all of that racket? You're making more concentration. Ooh, look, a lever!
Yeah, a rock formation that looks like a lever. And you may have guessed it, but this ends up causing Rarity to crash into the crate and ends up breaking all the jewels that Rarity collects. And we know where this leads to, where the two start to fight and bicker with each other.
Yeah, well, you ruined my treasure hunt. Oh, this wasn't about treasure. It was about finding gemstones for my winter collection. Who cares about clothes? We're supposed to be on an adventure together. Uh-oh.
I think that's probably only code for this episode's gonna suck now. And thus we then proceed to them basically bickering.
This day of fun is officially over. Fine by me. Maybe I can spend some time doing something I actually like now. Surely you don't mean that. You're just having a little disagreement. Sometimes that happens between pals. But no matter what, they can always get past the problem and stay good friends.
Unless the person is a complete and total dickweed and decides to cut off communications. And then we get...
You don't even give my interest a chance. You have absolutely no respect for the finer things. No respect, I tell you. I guess we're just not friends anymore.
Okay, so like I said, this episode... It's hard for me to comment on because, like I said, probably the biggest problem I have with this episode is that I've seen this type of episode before. This is basically look before you sleep, Rarity investigates, and to a lesser extent, Stranger Than Fanfiction in Season 8's Coat of Paint, but Rainbow Dash and Rarity are acting like they're Season 1 selves. I feel like this episode is a lot like Honest Apple from last season, where if this was an episode that appeared in Season 1 or Season 2, I could be a little bit more lenient of it. But given that we're now in Season 8, you would think that Rarity and Rainbow Dash would have matured from all this. And thus, after the commercial break, we then basically see Rarity and Rainbow Dash go to the guidance counselor's office to basically whine and complain to Starlight. And this episode then starts to become incredibly intolerable with the amount of times that they bicker and complain.
We need to be able to fly. Duh. Not to mention the day I was wearing a really gorgeous hat. Rainbow Dash didn't even notice. The wonderful show was ruined. Rarity's hat was blocking every pony's view. Enough!
I think that's pretty much what Starlight wants to say, because she basically is trying to say to the writers, can you bring back good character development back?
Guidance counseling is for talking out your problems, not telling me everything that's ever happened in the history of Equestria.
Yeah.
But I've learned sometimes talking isn't enough. You need to put yourself in one another's shoes. No way am I wearing those.
And Rainbow Dash is taking it to a literal extent. Like I said, I'm trying to be fair to this episode because it does bring up the concept of friends with different interests. But like I said, this is the type of thing that was kind of brought up in Stranger Than Fanfiction, and as I said, I really do not like the episode, and you're not going to get me to change my mind on that. But when this episode has more problems than the episode that it's ripping off, and it's an episode that I'm not a huge fan of, then we're going to have some problems. So anyways, Starlight tries to get the two back together as she basically forces Dash and Rarity to basically read each other's books, making Rarity read a volume of Daring Do, while Rainbow Dash reads Shadow Spade.
To start, why don't you two share one thing you liked about each other's book?
So then when Starlight tries to continue the conversation, they just find more of a reason to argue.
Just that I find those action sequences so ridiculously over the top. But they're real. You even met Daring Do. Yes, but the book's descriptions is drag.
So even when Rainbow Dash points out that when Rarity calls the action scenes over the top, and we've seen Rarity be a part of Daring Don't back in Season 4, she thinks that, and I understand that books have a bit of an interpretation, and that they have to drag things out, because it's text, and we don't see pictures unless it is a picture book. But with Rarity saying all this, knowing that she met Daring Do, it's basically like continuity just got caved in by a baseball bat.
And what about all those silly, unpronounceable names? Dr. Huzi Wasset Caballero. Caballero! Just like your book! How hard is that?
I think now I'm just realizing this is just kind of me. This is basically just kind of me when I have to keep explaining what's going on when I'm watching with my family or friends, when I'm trying to watch Survivor, The Amazing Race, or Big Brother, and I have to be the one to explain what the hell is happening without trying to lose a gasket over it. That's basically me.
Anybody?
Things don't get much better when basically... Considering that that was also the book and skills that Rarity used to save your ass from the Wonderbolts who falsely accused you because they proved that they were incompetent morons, it's really just kind of a slap in the face.
The outfit descriptions are an integral part of the plot of the Cult and Crimson, a Shadow Sage mystery. You see, if you didn't know there's a on Radishfield wears only silk double-breasted waistcoats, you'd never deduce that he, in fact, was a culprit. Wait, he was? You didn't even read it! I can see I'm gonna need reinforcements. Not my fault it's so boring and put me to sleep. If you can't be bothered to read the thing I like, that just further illustrates the point that we have nothing in common anymore! At least we agree on that! From now on, I'm only hanging out with ponies who get me!
Oh my god, shut up! Both of you shut up!
I think it's just kind of what I want to say, because like I said, just seeing this feels so forced. But thankfully, Starlight comes in and breaks up the monotony as they bring in over the Twilight, who says that one of the artifacts from A Matter of Principles, which one...
One of the magic... What's gone? The Amulet of Aurora.
Yeah, the Amulet of Aurora is missing, so Twilight and Starlight forces Rainbow Dash and Rarity to basically work together to try to find the Amulet of Aurora while they try to work on a teleportation spell of some kind.
Rarity, your boots are leaving sparkles all over the floor. That's not from my boots. Mine are magenta, not blue. See? I mean, really. Turns out these boots were not made for trotting, as advertised. Where are you going? We promised Twilight we'd work together. Don't you see? The Amulet of Aurora is made out of adamantium. Adamantium? You know, the same metal that the Amulet of Atonement from Daring Do Book 4 is made from. It always leaves sparkles wherever it goes. Just like this. Remember? It's from the book you just read.
And then Rarity admits that she didn't read the book.
Just read. Seriously? After giving me all that grief, you didn't read mine either? Oopsie. As soon as we find this amulet, we are done with each other. Shut the fuck up!
Like, what am I supposed to say to this? Like, really, what am I supposed to say when I have another episode where the characters that are supposed to be almost fully developed are now just reverting back to their Season 1 selves, and I feel like I'm rewatching an episode of Season 1 or Season 2 in Season 8's Coat of Paint? Like, what am I supposed to say to this? Okay, so anyways, they basically then decide to put their differences aside and come across some and basically come across a pond where they have to get across, but Rarity is able to fasten some kind of raft together through vines and wood.
That is awesome! I mean, it's alright, I guess. How did you know how to do that? We may have been friends for a super long time, but you don't know everything about me yet.
Alright, and that's an interesting point to know. So they basically then get across the pond and come across this thing. Could you speak a little louder, buddy? I couldn't hear anything you just said.
What did you say?
You're gonna have to speak up, buddy.
I think it's a boofagrin. They have really sensitive ears.
A boofagrin. Okay, that's another race I never thought would meet, and basically by the description, in case anyone was wondering, it's basically a six-eyed bullfrog that has very sensitive ears, as Rainbow Dash puts it. So because, according to them, that they have sensitive ears, they have to whisper to ask where they've seen the trail of the Amulet of Aurora. But apparently it also has very smelly breath, but Rarity has a bit of an idea to basically give it toothpaste, essentially, to eat.
Sorry, go.
The mouse. Treasure, indeed.
Good. Now, which way did the sparkly thing go?
There.
Thank you. Well, what are you waiting for? Go on.
So Rainbow Dash ends up helping Rarity fly up and doesn't want to leave her behind, and Rarity has a bit of a trick with one of the boots that she's been wearing.
I couldn't decide between the boots and the stilettos, so I got both.
Apparently makes a good lockpick.
High heels can do that? And you call them useless. I shouldn't have said that, or made fun of the other stuff you like to do. Some of it's actually sort of neat. I owe you an apology, too. Football may not be my thing, but it's something you enjoy, and you're very good at it. I never should have treated your interests like they were worth less than mine. So, does this mean we're still friends? I would very much like that. Now let's go find that amulet.
Yeah. So, you may have noticed that after we get past the bickering portion of it, the episode actually starts to pick up. I mean, the adventure is definitely exciting. It's nice to see different skills and tricks that Rarity and Rainbow Dash are able to use to put their differences aside. And we do see them own up to their mistakes and saying that, you know, they'd be willing to support each other through the interests that they have, even if they are vastly different from one another. So they go racing inside, and it turns out...
That tunnel leads to the school? A secret passage! Awesome!
Yeah, so that's interesting to know that the Friendship School has a secret passageway. So it's kind of wondering if this is supposed to be a friendship school, or is this supposed to be Wayside or something like that? But it turns out that the culprit behind all this was...
Sparky Wacky? You stole the Amulet of Aurora? Not exactly.
So basically, it turns out at the end of the day, Starlight's reinforcement was basically the whole thing was just basically an entire act just to get Rainbow Dash and Rarity to put their differences aside.
Sorry to interfere, but you both really needed it. So, even though you don't like any of the same stuff, you two are friends again? Always. I think we just needed a teensy reminder. Yeah, we don't have to love the exact same things to have fun together. I mean, imagine if we did. How boring would that be?
Kind of like how everybody feels about certain episodes, and basically we wouldn't all be sheep.
When we give each other a chance to share the different things we enjoy, it can be surprisingly wonderful.
Yeah, so this episode actually gives a somewhat relatable message where basically, like, even though if you and your friends have, like, different interests that seem vastly different, if you're open-minded enough to basically not only just accept the other people's interests, you might actually find yourself liking it if you're surrounded by them once in a while. So, and I think this episode's moral is very identifiable for probably things going on nowadays, really, if we're being honest here.
Oh, too bad we wasted our day of fun. But we still have a little time left.
So they basically make up and then go on to do their special day, and Twilight gives the closing of basically the whole lecture.
See, good friends always work through their differences. Even if it takes a little help.
Or a lot of it. Alright, so that was the end and friend, and I'm conflicted about this episode. I think this episode started out bad and then got progressively better. So this episode to me is okay. It's not good, not bad, just okay. I think this episode, there's just a lot of things I have with this episode. On the one hand, the episode is bad. At least the first half, at least. Getting through the first half is almost like basically pulling hairs out of my eyebrows or pulling hair out of my beard, where basically it's slow, painful, and it's just a pain in the ass to get through. It also doesn't help the fact that Rarity and Rainbow Dash are acting like they're Season 1 selves in Season 8's coat of paint. What makes it even worse is just the fact that this bickering goes on for so long that you kind of just want to hit the fast forward button and just get to the friendship mission already, even though technically it's not really a friendship mission, but it's kind of what it feels like. And like I said back until, this is what this episode's doing to me. It's kind of like what I said in Fake It Till You Make It. If I have to fast forward a lot of the stupid stuff, that's not the mark of a good episode. But once we get to the actual objective of retrieving the Amulet of Aurora, the episode actually does pick up where Rarity and Rainbow Dash, despite the one scene of bickering near the beginning, they do eventually put their differences aside and they are able to work together. And it's very fun and inventive watching them go on this adventure, and plus, finding the secret cave that leads back to the Friendship School is very impressive. And the moral is honestly very good, and I think very identifiable for probably friends that are probably in high school and college at best. But like I said, I think it's like those first 10, 11 minutes that are just really, you're just trudging yourself to get through for basically reverse character assassination. You have to get through that first before you get to the good stuff. And like I said, this type of episode has already been done before. Look Before You Sleep with Rarity, but replacing Applejack with Rainbow Dash. Rarity investigates another Rarity and Rainbow Dash episode that's too much similar for me to look at, but the one that most people compare it to is Stranger Than Fan Fiction, which, as I'm not going to repeat at this point because I'm not going to make this another diatribe of why I think Stranger Than Fan Fiction is another one of those episodes that I think is overrated and yet everybody else likes. But because I've seen this type of episode 3 times, you basically kind of know the points by this point, and you think that they would get a little bit more creative. So as a whole, where would I put the end and friend? I'd probably say probably the same range as the last episode in Friendship University. It's a C at best, because there are really bad things about it in the beginning of the episode, but then the positives kind of balance it all out, and there's nothing that makes me like or hate this episode more, so it's only fair to put it like smack dab in the middle. So the end and friend for me is about a C. Thank you, Peach. I needed that. Okay, so next time we are going to be looking at Yakety Sax. Son of a bitch! See you guys next time.